Welcome to RMIS Academy's newspaper teaching class. Myself is Rajesh, Faculty of Sociology and Current Affairs. We'll go into the first news of today. That happens to be government to set up National Recruitment Agency. It's a very important news, but the whole official information has to be out. But still, we got few informations about the particular National Recruitment Agency. Got it? See, we can understand that there are many recruitment agencies which is actually recruiting employees for Government of India. So since there are multiple recruitment agencies, the aspirants need to pay different money for different recruitment agencies, which actually make them more burden. Moreover, not all the recruitment agencies establish examination centers around the whole country. There are certain recruitment agencies which establish a minimum number of exam centers concentrating only on metro cities, or you can say a medium-sized town. Hence, it is actually working against the equality principle because the rural population, the rural aspirants cannot travel for each and every exam to the nearby in a city, or even the city may be even far away. Got it? So in order to stop all the mishap, now government is coming up with such a policy called, of course, National Recruitment Agency. We should say it is a common entrance test. Now Government of India is going to do a common entrance test for non-gazetted postings in government and public sector banks, which means early these works are done by SSC, Staff Selection Commission, Railway Recruitment Board, and IBPS. Now this particular body doesn't replace by this particular body. Still SSC, RRB, and IBPS exist. It is not going to replace by this particular body, but eventually those three bodies will be replaced by this particular body. But now this particular body is going to do only test for non-gazetted posting. Got it? Fine. So you should understand that Group P, Group C, and subsequent services and non-gazetted services will come under this particular National Recruitment Agency. It is going to be an online test and twice a year. And once you wrote and you got some marks out of it, and that particular mark will be valid for 3 years actually. So you can apply any particular postings via that particular mark. Got it? And as of now, the plan is to do in 12 languages. But anyhow, eventually, the government says that all the 22 languages will be covered under the particular examination pattern. And here you can understand the common eligibility test gonna conducted by this particular National Recruitment Agency have a common program, common syllabus, where the particular aspirants early suffered because of different syllabus, more or less equal, but anyhow little different syllabus. So they need to pay a coaching fees on different platforms, on different coaching centers, which is actually a very big burden for the aspirants. Now government understood the problem of aspirants and coming out with such a National Recruitment Agency. What was said is this particular agency will take away almost all the recruitment agencies with respect to India, spare away UPSC and few other services. Got it? And you can understand this particular National Recruitment Agency will do examination on 1,000 centers in India, concentrating on aspirational districts. See, aspirational districts are 117 in numbers. These 117 are need more push. These districts are suffering from one or other problem, so it needs Government of India's push to make itself as a good district. So on the particular districts will be concentrated on the particular recruitment agency with respect to centers, because in the particular aspiration districts we won't find good infrastructure, road infrastructure இருக்கட்டும், இல்ல வந்து transport infrastructure, whatever it is, அவ்வளோ பெட்டரா இருக்காது. So அதனால இந்த particular aspiration districtsல மட்டும் we will bring in more centers னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. But anyhow 1,000 centers is actually a good outcome, because 1,000 centers definitely one district will have at least one center. Got it? So that's a specialty of this particular National Recruitment Agency. We can expect it will wipe out all other government recruitment agencies shortly. But as of now, please understand, SSB, RRB, and IBPS still stands hold. Got it? இது சில அந்த பர்டிகுலர் ரெக்ரூட்மெண்ட் ஏஜென்சி நடத்துகிற சில போஸ்டிங்ஸ் மட்டும்தான் இப்போ இந்த காமன் எலிஜிபிலிட்டி டெஸ்ட் வித் ரெஸ்பெக்ட் டு திஸ் நேஷனல் ரெக்ரூட்மெண்ட் ஏஜென்சியை ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. யூ ஷுட் ஃபைண்ட் தி difference. We will have an official information subsequently. We're waiting for Ministry of Education to come out with the official document. அது வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் we'll have a complete clarity about the particular news. Next one is an international relation news. All of a sudden, India offers vaccine Bangladesh on priority. See, India yet to develop a particular vaccine which is in phase 2 or phase 3 trials. As of now, the COVAX is in phase 1 trials. But adukku munadiye romba strong they came out very heavily on Bangladesh and say that we will help you for your COVID issues. Why? What happened? See, recent times there was a lot of problem between India and Bangladesh. See, Bangladesh is a very close friend of India because Bangladesh independence is because of India. Got it? It is of course Indira Gandhi who is responsible for a war between India and Pakistan, which makes Bangladesh as a independent nation. So there was a close relationship between these two nations for a very long time. But in middle, somewhere around 1980s and 1990s, the relationship went too deep. But subsequently after 2004, we can expect the relationship is very strong. And the legacy of Manmohan Singh is continued by Narendra Modi also. But recently, it is an official criticism by Bangladesh on India as like India are not supporting or not taking any keen interest on Indian sponsored projects in Bangladesh. But this gap was clearly utilized by China. So China came to Bangladesh and they spoke even to Bangladesh, and China's vaccine is under phase 2 and phase 3 trial in Bangladesh. So adukku Bangladesh allow பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Got it? And moreover, even China promised Bangladesh to improve certain things, and very important is like building a in irrigation project in Teesta River. See, the Teesta River is actually a bone of contention between India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina constantly forcing India to release water from Teesta River, but West Bengal Chief Minister is reluctant to do that, which actually creates a tug of war between India and Bangladesh. But now China offered to build a dam in that particular Teesta River, which will eliminate the India's dependency, Bangladesh dependency on India with respect to Teesta. Got it? Because it is going to be a very good irrigation project. So they don't want to constantly negotiate with India for Teesta water. Got it? So there is a chance that it may build a relationship between China and Bangladesh to the next level. So already we have a problem that India is not supporting very much for the projects in Bangladesh. Moreover, Teesta River problem still stands good. And a very important one is the Indian Border Security Forces, who is responsible for guarding India-Bangladesh border, also shooting down the illegal migrants from Bangladesh to India. And moreover, Citizenship Amendment Bill Act of 2019 is also a very big problem, and that may strain the relation between India and Bangladesh. So இவ்வளோ ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு நமக்கும் பங்களாதேஷ்க்கும். இந்த கேப்பை ப்ராப்பராக யார் யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறான்? அஃப்கோர்ஸ் சைனா யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க. So we came to know that China is actually reaping everything because we gave a huge gap between India and Bangladesh relations. Got it? So suddenly, Indian Foreign Secretary travels to Dhaka and promises that we will definitely give the priority with respect to the COVID-19 vaccine to Bangladesh. Got it? So in the market news are very important because this particular news traces down the relation between India and Bangladesh, not alone, but it also traces down the relation between China and Bangladesh. Why suddenly this visit? Because the relation between China and Bangladesh actually booming, which actually a very big problem for India. So adha and the mukyamana vishayam we should understand that. Got it? So that's about this particular news. Even though we have a problem with Rohingya Muslims are those fellow who actually refugees from Myanmar, but India never allow those refugees inside Indian territory, but it is prerogative for Bangladesh to allow those Rohingya Muslims. So அந்த விஷயத்துலையும் நம்ம பங்களாதேஷ்க்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாமல் மியான்மருக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாமல் we took a மிடில் ஸ்டாண்ட். அதுவே கொஞ்சம் இந்தியாவுக்கும் பங்களாதேஷ்க்கும் ஒரு சின்ன கேப்பை ஏற்படுத்துச்சு. Got it? But anyhow, we want to solve all those gaps because Bangladesh is very important. We already have a very good relation with Bangladesh with respect to the Chittagong port also. We got transit facility from West Bengal to Tripura via this Bangladesh. We can see the map. So it is important to have a very good relation with Bangladesh, and if somebody, that is China, came down heavily on that particular relationship, it's going to be a problem for India. Got it? So அதனால தான் சடனா ஒரு foreign trip. Got it? Next news is all about World Bank may forecast steeper India contradictions. Got it? Fine. Contraction. Contraction means it's coming down. It seems that Indian economy will shrink. That's a problem here. See, early this particular World Bank predicted what will be the growth of India. But now again, this World Bank, said that the growth even may get contraction. Got it? Will even shrink. And this World Bank also gives what is the reason for those things, which is important for us. So the key reasons why the particular World Bank now again, reduce the growth rate of India. Early it said something different, but now it says again they are going to come down, from 6% to 3%. The expectation, what will be the growth of India. Got it? So pandemics affected India, of course, that's a very true, but it also affected the global outlook. Of course, it is also true. The global outlook is also gets affected. Hence, India's exports is not actually improving. So India's exports is not actually improving, which ultimately leads to contradiction in Indian economy. Got it? Contraction in Indian economy. And next one is consumption and investment slowdown. So of course, because of the pandemics, nobody likes to invest in India, and there is no demand also. So you can find there is a huge problem in supply side and demand side issues. There is nobody to invest, and there is nobody to produce more goods, which is actually called as supply side issue. And there is no demand because the people are not engaging in economic activity because of the pandemic's lockdown. Subsequently, no money, so no purchase power, hence no demand also. So there is no supply, there is no demand, which actually created a huge problem. That is true for all the nations, but India is not on a right track, it seems, with according to this World Bank. We have another article related to this. We'll discuss those things there. But anyhow, next one is Indian fiscal deficit may be beyond 6%. Got it? You should understand something called Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. See, in order to bring some discipline in fiscal responsibility, fiscal matters of government, fiscal na budget if you have any confusion, just think fiscal is like 1 year, just think it is a budget. Got it? Fine. So in year 2000, Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, when he was prime minister, he brought in something like Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2003. 2000 ஒரு contemplate பண்ணி 2003 ஒரு ஆக்டா கொண்டு வராங்க. அந்த ஆக்ட்ல என்ன சொல்லியிருப்பாங்கன்னா, fixation of target for government with respect to deficits, especially fiscal deficit. டார்கெட்டை ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. Got it? இந்த இயர்க்குள்ள fiscal deficit நம்ம இவ்வளவு கம்மி பண்ணிருக்கணும். What do you mean by fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit is nothing more than total expenditure minus total income. Got it? Expenditure minus income. The answer positive la irundhuchu appadina, then expenditure is very high, income is very low. It is called fiscal deficit. Got it? So மொத்த வருமானம் minus மொத்த செலவு, அவ்வளவுதான். மொத்த வருமானம் நமக்கு கொஞ்சம் கம்மியா இருக்கு, செலவு கொஞ்சம் ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு. So I can say the answer will be in negative. Got it? So what we can understand this particular Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act of 2003 clearly lays down certain targets for government, and they should definitely reach the target. But the target is of course not reached by government because the target expires by 2009-2010. Subsequently, by 2016, NK Singh committee was formed, and that particular committee recommended to reduce fiscal deficit less than 3% by 2020. 20. But now you can find the fiscal deficit may go even up to 6% because there is no income for government now, lot of expenditures. Hence, the fiscal deficit may go even higher. But the 2016 committee clearly says that by 2020, Government of India should reduce the total fiscal deficit less than 3%, which will not going to happen. Got it? So this particular act is very important. You should note it down. It gives some type of fiscal discipline, some type of target to government. The government should follow those targets to make sure the fiscal policies and fiscal strategies to attain a zenith. Got it? Next news is a very important news because he is a person who is responsible for India from IMF, and he gave out a lot of strategies and he came out what we can do to revive the growth. So that's a heading. India is capable of getting back to 7% growth. See, last one decade, we are actually having a very good growth. You can say from 2000 to 2010, the growth of Indian economy was really good. But after that, we cannot reach the stipulated mark of double-digit growth or even the growth of more than 7%. Got it? So he gave out certain ideas like an interview, but he gave out certain ideas how we can bring back the growth of Indian economy. See, supporting vulnerable sections. The first point he targeted us, whatever government of India as a policy they are going to make, that policy should support the vulnerable people, like the migrant crisis, like the people who are suffering because of the lockdown, disabled population. So anybody who's vulnerable because of the lockdown, any policy the government of India going to make, it should target those vulnerable sections directly. That's the first point he clarified. Got it? Because without targeting the vulnerable section, it is impossible to revive the growth. Got it? Second one is universal basic income. See, universal basic income is a concept government of India contemplating for almost 4 years, but there is no concept as of now in India with respect to universal basic income. But he suggested, why can't we go for universal basic income? It means that, see, please note down, India is the only nation, at least in developing world, doesn't transfer money directly to vulnerable section or anybody's bank account, even in the COVID-19 time. France, Germany, many big economies and developing economies already transfer, direct benefit transfer of cash from government account to your bank account. Already many economies did it. But this economy, that is Indian economy, yet to do it. So that's what he is saying. Why can't you promote universal basic income? What a basic income. At least for food, shelter, certain basic activities, the government will give money, then you can satisfy those basic activities. That's called universal basic income, and he was supporting universal basic income. Macroeconomics policy, fiscal consolidation strategy needed. What do you mean by fiscal consolidation? Fiscal consolidation is nothing more than reducing the fiscal deficit. That's it. Increasing your income or reducing your expenditure. Got it? Both contribute reduction in fiscal deficit. Got it? So he clearly says it is important for government of India to go for consolidation. Need to fill the treasury of government of India. The exchequer needs money. So we are supposed to do all the strategies what government of India is going to do should target that particular macroeconomic policy in related to fiscal consolidation. Fiscal consolidation is nothing more than earning lot of income and reducing the expenditure. That should not violate the principle of supporting the vulnerable section. Got it? So government of India should go for a lot of avenues, should open the economy, should increase the investments. Like this, he like to point it out. And next one is structural reforms. The structural reform is more like taxation. Even though government of India did a lot of things with respect to fiscal system. Fiscal system is like they brought in something called GST. Got it? They went for a bankruptcy code. Everything was good, but still India need more tax reforms. That's what he's trying to say about the structural reforms. Need more taxation reforms. Need open economy policy like investments from foreign nations. India should attract investments. Now we can understand that India is moving for self-reliance program. Got it? Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Yes, we are going towards it, but still he is saying that it is important to open the economy so that you can attract a lot of investments. That particular thing is called structural reforms according to this economist. And moreover, fiscal system, even though we brought in more good things, even though we got more good things like bankruptcy code, or you can say GST, we need to restructure the banking system because bank is suffering from NPA, non-performing asset. Non-performing assets are those assets which actually initially it is a performing asset, but after 90 days of a default of the particular borrower, then the particular loan may be called as a non-performing asset. So now the banks are suffering because of non-performing asset, and this economist clearly says that it is important to restructure everything as good as possible, and that is called financial system reforms and structural reforms. Both almost goes together, but anyhow understand the difference. And next one is deficit monetization. Deficit monetization, he says, not only he, almost all the economists says that's going to be the last resort. Got it? Last resort in the sense like printing of currencies by government of India is going to be deficit monetization. Got it? So we can print as much as possible and start supplying the currencies to the people so that we can push the demand so that the supply will automatically revive. That's the basic understanding. Got it? So a well-written article letters, and I gave you all the important points which was written in the particular article. We'll go to the next news. The third one is, of course, again an economy news. ACMA seeks policy scrappage of vehicles. See, the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association is now suffering and clearly came out with, the hue and cry about their industry because of the pandemics. There are a lot of issues that actually contract the vehicle sector. See, because of the demand reduction, see, there is no job for everyone. Nobody like to go for buying vehicles like four-wheelers or two-wheelers. So the demand reduces, so the industry is suffering. Lack of clarity in electric vehicle policy. The government of India came out something called FAME scheme, but there is lack of clarity. By 2030, all the vehicles should be scrapped, and they need to bring a new electric vehicles or what? See, there is lack of clarity, and government of India support to the FAME scheme is also a problematic. From outside, we can understand that there is a scheme, and that scheme is actually providing some types of incentives to electric vehicles. But within the industry, there is a huge confusions going on. So that's what the particular Deepak Jain, that happens to be president of this particular Automotive Component Manufacturing Association, clearly says that we have a lack of clarity about the particular policy by government of India. And next one is massive investment and BS6. See, now government of India targets April 2020 as a deadline to change all the two-wheelers and three-wheelers from BS4 to BS6. What is this BS4 to BS6? Bharat stage emissions. See, we can understand, according to World Health Organization, number of children who dies because of air pollution in India is actually way higher than the international average. More than, at least 10 million people in India are suffering because of this particular air-related pollutions. This air-related pollution are really problematic because it produces lung cancers and numerous problems to kids and vulnerable section of the society. And almost more than 5 Indian cities are in top 10 world polluted cities. We can say almost 8 to 9 cities are in top 10 world polluted cities only from India. Got it? So India is suffering because of this air pollution. And this is important for government of India to bring in certain schemes to stop the air pollution. That is why this Bharat stage 4 emission, skipping 5 and coming to 6. See, if you want to go towards Bharat stage emission 6, you need to change certain vehicle parts in order to reduce the carbon emission. One such is, of course, selective catalytic reductions. Got it? See, these type of parts are very costly, and in order to introduce such parts in cars or bikes, it is indeed to invest a huge money. Early, government of India says that after selling all the particular cars which is produced in early Bharat stage emission standards, and then we'll shift to other Bharat stage emission. But now, Government of India fixed the target. Before April 2020, all the vehicles should be Bharat stage emission 6 should be compliance with Bharat stage emission 6. So, idhukku munnadi, at least they gave to sell all the early Bharat stage emission related or compliance vehicle and shift to the new one. But India time-based target vachitaanga April 2020, all the vehicles should be changed from Bharat stage emission 4 to Bharat stage emission 6. But this particular Bharat stage emission 6 is a very beautiful concept based on European emission standards. Actually, it will have a reduced sulfur content. This particular selective catalytic reduction and all working very good in order to reduce the carbon dioxides, nitrogen oxides. There are almost 6 to 8 gases generally considered as NOx. So in the particular catalytic better work out. So we can understand that the emission and the emission particulates or emission lerundu vara particulate matter இருக்கட்டும், sulfur இருக்கட்டும், nitrogen oxides இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாமே கொஞ்சம் கம்மியா இருக்கும் BS6 பொறுத்த வரைக்கும். Got it? So time based target வச்சிட்டாங்க. Early it is not time based target. Now it is a time based target. So within April 2020, they are supposed to sell all the vehicles, which again a very big problem, and they went for a massive investment because of procuring new missions to compliance with BS6. Got it? So அதனால ஏகப்பட்ட ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு. நாங்க என்ன பண்றதுனே தெரியலன்னு சொல்லிருக்காங்க. So what we know is why this particular sector is suffering. This is a manufacturing sector, especially automotive sector is very important in India because it is actually giving huge revenue to India. Got it? So and moreover, we need to understand what is this BS6. And this is a very important article, contempt power. See, you should understand this particular person is actually the Vice Chancellor of Nalsar University of Law in Hyderabad. See, he gave a beautiful article, and this particular article is related to contempt. Got it? So already we discussed about contempt of court. That happens to be civil and criminal contempt. Both was written in 1971 Act. Got it? So what he says is the public confidence in judiciary is strengthened not by restore to contempt power, but by orders and judgment. That's a very important word. What the present bench who convicted Prashant Bhushan for its activities said that in the name of people, we are actually contempting this particular person because he scandalizes the authority of the Supreme Court. What the judge says is when the respect of the particular Supreme Court is lost, and the people will not obey the orders of the court. And subsequently, it is going to be the problem for themselves only because just a court solra or orders of people justna justice just or order court pass பண்றாங்கன்னா respect இருந்தா தான் people obey பண்ணுவாங்க. When there is no respect, naturally the people won't obey it. So what the judge says is in the name of people we are contempting the particular person. So அதான் இவர் சொல்றாரு இந்த particular vice chancellor எப்பயுமே Supreme Court confidence should be increased not by giving the contempt of power verdict, but the act and orders, the action, the orders and judgment of the Supreme Court should speak for the judgment. அதான் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. அதான் இங்க it is called res ipsa loquitur. Res ipsa loquitur is a word generally used in Anglo-American judicial system, which means the thing speaks for itself. See, contempt of the court and the power use பண்ணி தான் மக்கள் மனசுல கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் ஏற்றணும்னு அவசியம் கிடையாது. By the orders of the particular court, by the judgment of the particular court, மக்கள் மனசுல என்ன பண்ணலாம், அவங்க ஒரு நல்ல இடம் பிடிக்கலாம். ஸோ அந்த டிஃபரன்ஸை அவர் அழகா சொல்லியிருக்காரு. காட் அதான் இங்க இந்த பர்டிகுலர் வேர்டு இங்க இருக்கும். காட் அவர் ஏன் அதை சொல்றாரு அப்படின்னா there are a lot of habeas corpus petition pending on in Supreme Court. And Article 370 சம்பந்தப்பட்ட விஷயங்கள்லாம் சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட்ல பெண்டிங்கா இருக்கு. And many other matters are pending in Supreme Court, which is more important to nation. But still 2009ல பிரசாந்த் பூஷன் அகேன்ஸ்டா போட்ட கேஸ இப்ப எடுத்து எதுக்கு தேவையில்லாம ஜட்ஜ்மெண்ட் தந்திருக்காங்க. So more important matters are pending in Supreme Court. Why this? To Supreme Court. Supreme Court clearly says there is no physical court is now. Physical court கிடையாது, எல்லாமே வீடியோ கான்ஃபரன்சிங் தான் நடக்குது. And Supreme Court clearly says we will hear only the most important cases and the particular author of the particular article clearly raising the question, do you think the present contempt is more important? Got it? And he also says about sine qua non. Got it? Sine qua non is something like necessary and the particular vartha inge irukkum. Got it? Fine, right? According to the judges, it is important to promote the confidence of the Supreme Court so that the justice is delivered. But he says you can promote the confidence of the Supreme Court not by contempting or contempt of court provision, but by giving a beautiful orders that it should satisfy the sentiments of the people. It should always work towards the sentiments of the people. Got it? Fine. So there are many acts in India, many cases in India, not act, many cases in India, which creates huge problem. He also went on to say that there was a press conference by 4 senior most judges in 2018. Never ever happens in independent India. Never ever the Supreme Court judges go for press conference. But in 2018, 4 senior most judges of Supreme Court went for a press conference and they accused the then CJI, Deepak Mishra also, stating that the Deepak Mishra is actually going for, it's like a match fixing, bench fixing. Got it? So on the 4 judges என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா bench fix பண்றாங்க, அவருக்கு பிடிச்சவங்களுக்கு அந்த கேஸை அந்த பெஞ்சுக்கு அலாட் பண்றது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவங்க ஒரு அக்யூஸ் பண்ணாங்க. ஏன் அந்த பர்டிகுலர் 4 ஜட்ஜ் மேல கண்டெம்ப்ட் ப்ரொவிஷன் கொண்டு வரலன்னு கேட்டிருக்கிறாரு. காட் இட்? அண்ட் மோரோவர் கண்டெம்ப்ட் ப்ரொவிஷன் அப்படிங்கிறது கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷனல் கொஸ்டின் சம்பந்தப்பட்டது. பிகாஸ் ஆர்டிகல் 19 clause 1 clause A gives freedom of free speech and expression. whenever கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் மேட்டர் சம்பந்தப்பட்ட எந்த கேஸா இருந்தாலும் கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் பெஞ்ச் தான் டிசைட் பண்ணும். கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் பெஞ்சுங்கிறது 5 ஜட்ஜஸ் உட்காந்து டிசைட் பண்ணுவாங்க. காட் இட்? ஆனா இந்த பர்டிகுலர் பிரசாந்த் பூஷன் கேஸ்ல only 3 judges came down and said, காட் இட்? அதையும் क्वेश्चन பண்ணிருக்காங்க. காட் இட்? why not 5 judges? why only 3 judges? That is also questioned by the particular author. Got it? So overall we can understand that it is important that the contempt is of course important, no doubt, but it should be taken by court only at the time of more need, not like this. Got it? So in the article go through பண்ணுங்க. An extraordinary written article, so please go through this. And next one is of course privatization via graded autonomy. So graded autonomy model அப்படினா என்ன அர்த்தம்னா, now if a particular college or institution is doing or performing better, then the government will give more autonomy to the college, not the university. If I am running a college and I am affiliating my college with the university and I am doing better in my college, then my college will have more autonomy than university cannot control to a certain extent. அதான் அந்த விஷயம். So far இது சப்போர்ட் பண்றவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்க பாருங்க, reduce burden of the universities, because university is suffering because many colleges are under the university and the university cannot concentrate on them because they are concentrating on the colleges, because each and every college should provide good quality education. So அதனால நிறைய சஃபரா வராங்க. ஒன்னு. ரெண்டாவது, less politico bureaucratic interference. Less politico bureaucratic interference is like universities கீழ இருக்க colleges comes under the political and bureaucratic interference. So universitiesல interference இருந்துச்சுன்னா காலேஜ்லயும் interference நடக்கும். ஆனா when the college gets autonomy, naturally இந்த மாதிரி bureaucratic and political interference இருக்காது. That's the second one. Third one is premium affiliated colleges to innovate and evolve. Certain colleges are actually performing well, but still they don't have infrastructure to elevate themselves as universities, but they can do lot of research works, but still they are affiliated to a particular college. When given autonomy, they can definitely work and promote innovation activities. So these are the 3 points which support graded autonomy model. Graded autonomy, when you get good grade in colleges ranking, naturally you'll get more autonomy. But there are certain argument against that also, which seems curtail transparent admission procedure. When a particular college is given more autonomy, they can reduce the transparency of allotment of the seats. Since they're getting more autonomy, they can reduce their transparency. So நிறைய donations வாங்கிட்டு seat போடுறதுக்கான chances are there. And change of closure of public funded colleges. There is a chance of closing the public funded colleges because many public funded colleges are not actually performing better. Now government of India is actually coming heavily on those colleges to perform very better, but still இந்த மாதிரி autonomy கொடுக்க many will go towards the particular college, then the public funded colleges will suffer a huge problem. And last one is equality may get affected. எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஈக்குவலா ஷீட்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும்ன்றதான் காலேஜோட ரூல்ஸ். பட் when the college gets good autonomy, then they may reduce the transparency, which may affect the equality of the education system also. Got it? So that's about this particular article. So graded autonomy model was introduced in this new education policy 2020, which says when the college is performing better, the college will itself get some type of autonomy, not universities. Please understand, university already have some type of autonomy, but it is about colleges. Got it? So that's about today's news. BS6, which was made compulsory for every automotive makers. Consider which are the following ministry. Of course, it's Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climatic Change. And what do you understand by graded autonomy model? Bring out arguments for and against such model. Go through the article, then you'll get a complete picture, but I gave you the gist of the article. That's more than enough to write an answer. But still, go through the article, get more points, write a good answer. Maybe from 150 to 200 words. Got it? So thank you for listening. Newspaper teaching class of RMIS Academy. Have a good day.